hardworking public person I have ever met. She is diligent. She has sacrificed. She's gotten beat down by the most nastiest of nastiest people in the community that claim to be Democrat or God-fearing. So please, like when you see someone like her that has fought as an Afghan woman, as a Muslim woman, as a woman from the Bay Area, I hope when she calls on you, you like she said, you return her call, and I know she will return yours. Yes. So that was her.
Thank you. And you know, so my name is Aisha Wahab. Just recently elected to be this region's state senator, Senate District 10 from Hayward. Now, I'm very proud of this honor, specifically because we are the most populous state senate in the entire state of California, with well over 1 million people. And in particular, I do want to say we can't do it alone. We didn't do it alone, right? We've been here a couple times now, right? We've talked, we see a lot of familiar faces in the audience, right? Faces that also potentially didn't believe I could win, right? And that's fine, you know, we are brand new in this chapter of our lives as Muslim Americans in this country, right? We have a lot of firsts in a lot of cities, right? And we're just going to continue to grow. And I want to give a special shout out to Hala in particular. Hala has done a lot of work, and she deserves the credit. We give a lot of jokes to each other in particular, but in particular, Hala has raised a significant amount of funds for a lot of different people. And roughly more than 10 years ago, I saw Hala speak at an event on a panel, and I literally came out behind her and I said, oh my God, I have never seen a Muslim woman do what you do. And I stopped Hala in the hallway and we chatted for a minute, and you know, we talked about it, and she gives me a hard time, I give her a hard time. She is a very strong Palestinian woman. She's very proud of her community. She elevates the community. And I will say, it's still very hard in certain communities, in certain circles, to say that you're an Afghan American, a Palestinian American, a Muslim American. It is not a comfortable conversation when people are like, I literally have one of the first bills we have this year, which is backed by CARE PAC and sponsored by them, to have Eid as a personal holiday choice, right? And when I got around to get asked my co-signers, would you sign this, the other senators? Some actually, to my face, told me, I have no interaction with this community. And I was like, there's a million of them in the state of California. How do you not have an interaction with them, right? And they're like, I don't know what this is. And so I have to spend a lot of time explaining it. And Hala is absolutely right, that we actually have to be in circles that we're not normally invited to. We have to donate to people. And you know, one of the things is that there's a lot of women that actually do a lot of the work. Hala is one of them. I've taken her lead on a lot of different things. She's hosted a fundraiser for us. She's worked in the background, and you know, I can vent to her because she knows how the circles work, right? But she's also not the only woman that we have in our community that really we draw strength from. You know, I want to say to Moina, I don't know where, okay, Moina's right there, right? Moina has honestly been a champion in this region for years, right? And Moina in particular, she ran almost 10 years ago now for school board, right? And I remember going to her kickoff and fascinated that a Muslim woman with a hijab is running for office, right? We need to see those things. We need to see people put themselves out there, win or lose. It is changing the culture of what is accepted from people that look like us. And so it's not easy. And she also has been trying to mentor a lot of other folks. And I will say, you know, honestly, we also have Samina in the background, right? So Samina's formerly with CARE, right? And she put yard signs up in Santa Clara County for me. Her and her two kids And we just kept dropping 40-yard signs at a time to her. And she goes, okay, maybe Aisha, I'm not gonna be able to do it this weekend, but I will do it next weekend. And she always did it. We saw signs go up regularly. These are women doing the work, right? Our team was run by a Muslim woman, Nergis, right? An Afghan woman. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist. She does not like their country, right? But she works harder than anybody to make sure that our material was legitimate, our walks were organized. People, even labor, organized labor told us that your campaign is one of the most well-functioning campaigns, and it's literally all because of Nergis, right? So I really want to give kudos there. And I really want to highlight this because it's a lot of the women in our communities that are silent and in the background and don't speak up and do all the work. 100%. They do the work in our families, they do the work in our communities, and they really do deserve attention. And I really want to highlight that because when we are supporting candidates, I've seen in this community, we have a tendency to support the male candidate immediately. Not even asking qualification, background, or anything, right? And again, if you see a female candidate, we need to elevate them and treat them with respect and so forth. And you know, there is a lot of complaints I received when I was going into different circles. So sometimes I get a little upset myself, and after days of campaigning, you know, you're a little short with people sometimes, right? Especially me, I'm Afghan, right? So we get very irritated very quickly, right? And when people would comment, if I come to certain circles, her clothing is too tight. The color she chose to wear was too bright. These are not the conversations we need to have here in this country. We're done with that, right? And as Paula said, as Mona said, it doesn't matter if you wear the hijab or don't wear the hijab. It doesn't matter if you practice all day or don't practice at all. We are one community. And we understand each other's struggle. We understand that we are going to advocate better for each other than anybody else. 100%. And so when I would get questions about international relations and international questions for a state seat, I would ask, do you ask my opponent this question? Why do you think that you can ask me and not my opponent? Do you think she's going to defend you more than I'm going to defend you? And they would go silent. And so that was very frustrating. That was one of my biggest frustrations on the campaign trail, and it was coming from my own community, right? So we need to get past that. And I want to say that as definitely, you know, there's so many people that have worked on this, right? And I really want to thank a lot of folks that, you know, it's more important to actually highlight some of these names. And I just want to say again, Moina, big thank you so much. Samina, Debal, Hala Hijazi, of course, always. Zara Bilou, who's not here, but she has always been very supportive. Samir, Arshad, I want to say Arshad, and I don't even know if he's here, but he literally walked for us every single weekend, all the way from San Ramon. He did not have to do it, and he didn't do it for attention, he didn't do anything. He walked the whole day, multiple precincts, right? We have Aziz Akbari, right? We have Salman, we have Salah, we have Muhammad Al-Rai, and so many others, right? But I just wanted to highlight those particular names because they were the consistent voice around us, especially in the Muslim community, right? And we can't do it alone. We truly, truly can't. If you take a look right here, the people that are in this room, they're all here for a different reason, want to hear a different story, have different lives, different activism, different interests in politics. We don't have to agree. We don't. But to the outside world, we are viewed as one community. They don't realize that, you know, I may be Afghan, you may be Palestinian, you may be Pakistani, you may be whatever the case is. But when we stand together, we are far more powerful. And that's one of the things that we need to understand is our differences don't matter. Because it's the spirit and the heart that matters. And we want to do good, not only in this country, but in this world and in our lives. So I have genuinely dedicated my life to trying to do good community work. I have been doing the work for more than a decade, from sitting on non-profit boards to commissions to so forth. And I try to make it a point that if somebody does call me, somebody does text me, I try to respond back. It's getting later and later, and I've noticed this too, right? But the reason for that is because we do need people to help the other people. And so there's an individual running in San Francisco, a Muslim American, and somebody asked me, should we throw a fundraiser for them? And calculation-wise, I was like, that person's gonna lose, but I think you should throw a fundraiser for them. And the reason why is because we need to constantly, every corner of our communities, have somebody that represents different community members. To be able to elevate the voice, to elevate the problem, to elevate the solution. So, as much as we don't understand how some of the politics works, we're never gonna learn it until we try it. We're never gonna learn it until we participate. It is important to get registered to vote. It is more important to get registered to vote than anything else. The ballots are literally mailed to your homes. You can vote in private. You don't have to vote for every single race either. Vote for the ones you care about, whether it's the president, the vice president, California state senator, California Senate, right? That's representing us in the federal government, right? Maybe you don't know your local judges. That's fine, you can skip those, right? But the work that we have to do is continuous. We have to understand what's going on and how it affects us. When we talk about Islamophobia, Islamophobia only exists because we are in the shadows. We are not out there in the public, and we need to fight it publicly, all right? So I really just want to thank you all for joining this celebration tonight, because it's truly a celebration. We won. That's all that matters, right? We have Bilal out there who's won, we have Aziz, we have you, we have so many people that have won. And we expect more of us to win. And that only happens with you. So thank you for having me. I genuinely appreciate it. And I really just want to say that I hope that we all look forward to the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aisha. As Aisha was going through and speaking of all the amazing work that the women in this community have done, the pillars in this community, of course, we heard from Hala, we heard from Marina. I gotta just say to all the guys out there, you gotta step it up, man. And not just with your checkbooks. We need the checkbooks too, but not just with the checkbooks. You gotta step it up. Support those around you, support the women in your lives, support the women that are running, and then also get involved yourselves. And speaking of checkbooks, I am told, I'm not gonna fundraise tonight, but I am told that this event is short of $2,500 to just cover the costs. This is not a fundraising event. The intention was never to raise funds in this event, but the organizers have told me that this event is $2,500 short of just covering costs. So whatever you can on your way out. Where are they going to go? On the table in the back? Okay, thank you, Janae. So in the table in the back, if you can, nobody's going to lock the doors before you pay or anything, but just do it out of the inspiration that you received tonight, and to warm yourself up a little bit for when the campaign season comes and people ask you for real big bucks. So I also want to echo that what we do matters, and being there and present, as Aisha was saying, you know, just showing up. Like, a lot of the Islamophobia is happening because people just have never interacted with a Muslim before, so it's very easy to otherize. And we have many examples, and I did want to highlight one tonight from Haris Mujaddadi, who I introduced earlier. I don't know if you're still here. There he is. In the corner, you want to raise your hand, wave so people can see you. Okay, yeah, so the Democratic Party had their very first Eid event because of his involvement in the Asian American and Pacific Islander caucus. So again, being present and showing up is half the battle. I want to close with a reminder from Surah Yasin. Many of us recite Surah Yasin almost on a regular basis. Unfortunately, many of us only recite it when somebody passes away. But there are very important lessons in Surah Yasin, and one of them talks about the town in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلًا أَصْحَابَ الْقَرْيَةِ إِذْ جَاءَهَا الْمُرْسَلُونَ إِذْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهِمُ اثْنَيْنِ فَكَذَّبُوهُمَا فَعَزَّزْنَا بِثَالِثٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent two messengers to a town, and they disbelieved in those two messengers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a third messenger to that town, and they still disbelieved. And the verses go on to talk about the conversations and that the messengers are having with their people, inviting them to do good, inviting them to the, and as I think Aziz mentioned earlier, we do this because this is part of our principles. Or Omar, I think Omar, you mentioned it earlier, that we do this because our deen tells us what the principles for justice are. And so these messengers were disbelieved by their people. And the verse goes to tell a piece of the story which is really, really important. And I want to leave you with this tonight. When the verses say, وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اتَّبِعُوا الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And from the outskirts of the city, a person came running. From the outskirts, from the far end of the city, they took a trip, they traveled, whatever, on foot or on camelback or whatever, on horseback. And they traveled to go to the people and tell them, follow the messengers that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent. Follow the right, follow the good thing, right? This person wasn't a messenger. It would have been very easy for this person to say, who am I? I'm not even a messenger, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent two and they didn't even listen to them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the third. So who am I? Would they even listen to me? But he felt that obligation. He felt that commitment to what is right, and he went and he told his people. And the story takes a very dark turn. The people kill him. They trample him, stone him to death for speaking out. And as his soul is rising up to Jannah, to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the verses say, قِيلَ دُخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ. He's told as he's being raised because he spoke for what was right. Even he wasn't a messenger, and he was killed for it. He paid the ultimate sacrifice. And he was told, قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ. Enter into paradise. If any one of us were told, enter into paradise, what is the first thing that would come on the tip of your tongue? Say, anybody? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, I made it! The first thing that was on the tip of his tongue when he was told, enter into Jannah, he said, قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ. I wish my people would know. He has this love and this yearning for his own people. And these are not Muslims. These are his people, his townsfolk. And so even as he is ascending, going to Jannah, and he's being told that he's going to enter into Jannah, the first thing on the tip of his tongue is again a yearning that his own people would know what they're missing out on. So we all have an obligation to serve our communities, not just the Muslim community, but the community that is around us. You can only do that when you love them. You can only do that when you want what's best for them. And I think all of the messages that we've heard from our elected officials, from our non-elected officials, those is to inspire those who are thinking about running for office, to inspire those who are just participating in the community to do more, to step up, to support your elected officials, and for the elected officials also to know that they have all of your support. I want to close with some dua. Oh Allah, please give support to all of our Muslim elected officials here in California and throughout the country. Oh Allah, help guide them on their path. Oh Allah, make them stand steadfast on their principles and not deviate from it from forces around them. Oh Allah, please inspire all of those who are in attendance today to be active in their communities. Oh Allah, please inspire all of who is in attendance today to support those who are being active in their communities, both with words of affirmation, words of support, and with their checkbooks. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us all in this night. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خيرا and may you all have a